Everybody. It is time for the seat at the table. We welcome all of you tonight. We are ecstatic. It is another seat at the table. You know, we started our new topic, What's Got You Bogged Down? What's got you at a place to where you're sluggish? So tonight, we want to start back at that. I think on last week, Evangelist, or rather Tuesday, I'm talking about last week. Well, technically it was last week, as this is the end of the week. Tomorrow begins the week off, so we do welcome all of you tonight. We are eternally grateful. Let me push my chair back a little bit, please. We are eternally grateful that God has allotted us another opportunity to be with you. My beard don't look like it's sitting like I wanted, but anyway, that's just for laughter's sake. So we know being bogged down is it just simply means being stuck. And I know with it being the 27th day of the month, some of us are still stuck. And being stuck where you are, sometimes maybe stuck with a decision, stuck in a situation, stuck on a job, stuck in relationships, stuck in friendships, stuck in a thought. You just bogged down with a whole lot of decisions that you feel that you need to make. You are uncertain on how to go about making this decision. Should I make this decision? Would this be the wise decision? Just some definitions. You look at it, it said to become stuck in wet ground, car bogged down in the mud often. Is just figurative. So when we look at it, just some of us, the place in conflict or difficulties, we are bogged down by the endless changes, and of course, finished. Late. We're trapped. We're tangled. We embroiled. We embangled. Just a lot of things just got us at that place. Scripture tells us in a lot of things that we ought not to be entangled with stuff. Paul tells us, Galatians chapter 5, verse 1, he says, stand fast in the liberty wherewith Christ have made us free. Some of us are freed from a whole lot of things. We have now gotten the opportunity to start fresh. What have you started fresh in? What are you starting fresh in? What do you want to start fresh in? What do you like to start fresh in? You made all, I said on Tuesday, you made all these resolutions. You made these decisions of what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, where you're going to do it at, who you're going to do it with, the way you're going to go about doing it. You made plans. Have you executed those plans? Do you know how you're going to execute those plans? Do you know the manner in which you're going to about to execute those plans? You started off with a great workout. Well, I'm gonna work out 3 days a week. I'm gonna work out 2 days a week. I'm gonna work out for 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon. I'm gonna walk for a mile. I'm gonna walk around the block. I can go from one stop sign to the other stop sign and come back. I got some weights in the house. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take some canned goods and I'm gonna lift some canned goods in the house. I'm gonna make sure that as soon as I get out of my bed in the morning, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my bed out, I'm gonna make my bed up, I'm gonna fluff my pillows. Excuse me, I'm gonna make sure that my bed is straight. So, we made decisions that we're not gonna leave things the way they once were so that we can set a new standard for ourselves. All of those things helps us to not be in the same place, in the same position we were in. So when we're looking at the mere fact that things that kept us bogged, sluggish, kept us in the place, in the position that we were in. Some of us have what they call, my wife was diagnosed when she was a kid, what is called sluggish bowels, which means that your bowels don't move as often as other people's bowels move. So you got to have help. So some of us got to take, well, not myself personally, but most people got to have, and y'all see the commercials all the time. I'll get a little Metamucil, take 2 tablespoons of Metamucil in your glass, in your coffee, and some water, or they now have the Metamucil gels now. They show them on the commercial. Now, it used to be just for women and for women's health. You have all of the, what they call them, probiotics now that is supposed to be for gut health. And a lot of your digestion starts off in your large intestines. A lot of your, what they call antibiotics and stuff like that, and what helps to fight off colds and stuff are in your large intestine. Now, this may not make sense to anybody, but when you are backed up and you cannot have a regular bowel movement, you'll find that the body will have a lot of toxins that now have you becoming irritable, aggravated, agitated, have you at a place to where you're now frustrated, you're fighting, you're arguing, you're at a place to where you're fussing with people when you shouldn't be fussing with people. Some of us eat a lot of red meats. A lot of red meats keep you sluggish because they slow down the process of your thinking. They keep you from being able to think real fast. The very things that you eat, the saying used to be, you are what you eat. Well, technically, you are what you eat. It start coming out of your pores. People that drink a lot of alcohol, especially if they continue drinking after 9 o'clock at night, you'll find that the next morning they smell like they still been drinking when they may have stopped drinking about 11, 12 o'clock that night. But if they still continue drinking at 9 o'clock and they didn't stop drinking until 11 o'clock, their body still is producing or still filtering out because the body is still pushing out those things. Yeah, bring it to your mama, baby. They're still pushing those things out. They're still trying to get rid of. They're still trying to now exfoliate. The liver is still trying to detox. It's still trying to push it out. The pancreas, the gallbladder, the spleen, the kidneys are still trying to filter these things out because your body have natural filters. And don't matter how much water you tried to drink, no matter how much cranberry juice you tried to drink, cherry juice you tried to drink, and all the things that you normally do to try to get these things out of your body, it's impossible for you to be able to try to flush it all out if you're still drinking after 9 o'clock at night. So what's got you bogged down? The conversations that you have, the kind of conversations that you have, the people that you're having the conversations with. You got to twist it by the top of you. Want to make sure it's kind of straight. You got to take this and twist it like that. Now you're straight. So that's what you try to do. And you try to make it like that. So the reason why I believe God had me to start a conversation, what has you bogged down with 27 days into the new year, and we're still trying to decide who we're going to let go, how we're going to let go, why should we let them go? Some people you don't want to let go, some things you don't want to let go of, some places you don't want to stop. Some things you still find fulfillment, enjoyment in it. Why? Tell me why we still find fulfillment in some of the kind of conversations that we have, some of the kind of things that we watch, some of the things that we read, some of the things that we participate in, some of the things that we participate in on social media, some of the things that hype us up because we feel that this is what gives us that extra oomph in the morning, in the afternoon. Now, this may not fit everybody because, the I don't mind, as we often has heard, all of us, is a devil workshop. So now you don't have nothing that you fill in your mind with that is actually beneficial, that's going to build you. So you like a lot of junk. So you like a lot of gossip. You like a lot of foolishness. You like a lot of rigmarole, as I've heard some people say in my life coming up where I'm from on the bayou. You like a lot of busybodiness. You like a lot of people's mess and trauma and drama. And you like to find out who messing with who and why they've been messing with them and how long they've been messing with them. So you done found out that, Sally been messing with Bob and Bob been messing with Jill and Jill been messing with Mike and Mike been messing with Sally. And now you done found out that all of these people really have been married one to the other and they all best friends and they go to each other's house. And all the while they all been messing with each other. But nobody knew that the other, and they've been laughing in each other's face, going to each other's house for barbecues and parties and baby showers, their children been doing stuff together, but all the while, Mike been messing with Sally. Sally been messing with Jill and all these other things. And y'all just threw a whole lot of other names together to mix it up because there have been some shady stuff going on until Brenda done got in the mix and then found out and then sent some photos. And with the photos came because some conversations came up when they had a dinner party. And why did I say that? Because now you got a lot of mess floating around because Brenda wanted to get with Bob. But Bob didn't want to be bothered with her because Jill was messing with Mike. And all of these things happen. So now you got a lot of stuff going on. And at church, all these things took place. And then they all work at the same workplace. And they're all friends at the same workplace. So we have all these things happening, and they all live in the same community, and they live not far from each other because they live in the same community. And while in the same community, they live on the same blocks together. So they live not far from each other. So now you're bogged down with all of these things, and you're wondering why the little snickering and the smiles and all of this other stuff. And now you're with your husband and you're with your wife, and you wondering why it's all so good with all the loving and all of the other stuff, but you're not really loving each other. You're loving the other that you've been loving all the while. And now you're going on trips together and you're wondering why everybody's slipping off at the wrong times. Now, this is going to bother some people because you bog down because you're trying to get out of stuff. You're wondering why your children are acting the way they're acting. How are you acting? You can get in at any time, Evangelist, because being sluggish takes us to a lot of places. So if we should take a stand and we know we're free, then why get entrapped again? And why should we be entangled with the same yoke of bondage? You was in bondage before. You know these things cause you to fuss, to argue, to bicker. You know it had you in such disarray. And you know that it caused a lot of hardship, heartache, a lot of pain. It caused you to have so much trauma and issues within your home with your children because of the things that were going on between you and your spouse, you and your significant other, you and your live-in, whatever you want to call it. And now you're trying to figure out the best way, and y'all decided that you would stop the things that were going on or not do the things that were taking place, or they can no longer see what's going on your social media pages and all of this other stuff, but it's already out there. And now you got to try to rebuild. You got to figure out the best way to stop and counteract what's going on because it has them now acting out at school, acting out in the neighborhood, cause them to now start drinking, cause them now to want to do drugs, cause them now to find the stuff that you had, and now they're taking pills or getting pills from somewhere else. And now you're going down to the jailhouse. Now you're finding out they're doing things with other people that you thought would never happen because now they find themselves cutting themselves, doing things because of your actions. So now there's a bondage that's taking place. Now they've got involved in all kinds of issues. They found all kinds of, let's just say, witchcraft. Let's call it what it is because our kids get involved in things that you had no idea. Mm-hmm. But our actions now produce different types of repercussions. And now we're trying to get our kids out of all of these things, wondering why they're dressing the way they're dressing, wondering why they are living the way they're living. What are our actions now in front of them? So now they got us bogged down. Now we sluggish. Now we don't know what to do. Now our kids are living like hermits. Now they don't want to come out of the room. The yelling, the fussing, the cussing, all of the things that are taking place. What are our actions in front of them? So what's got you bogged down? I'm waiting on you to chime in. I'm not worried about whether or not anybody join us tonight or not, or whoever else join us. It is what it is. I mean, we're going to continue doing what God told us to do.
No, I was listening to you.
You listened to me, but you're just sitting there.
Because I was listening to what you were saying because a lot of times we are bogged down with a lot of things. And a lot of times it's more weight than it's anything. Getting back to understanding where it all came from is where we start getting bogged down at. Because one of the biggest things that I look at a lot of times as the word, as my sister used to say whenever she stayed with us, is that every time I turn around, my brother-in-law always say choice. That everything is a choice. And one of the biggest things that I keep in mind is that the choices that we make, especially when we become parents, we have to realize that our choices affect someone else. Mm-hmm. And whenever we don't pay attention that our choices have now affect someone, effect, and cause some issues and some problems, we have to take ownership of the part that we played. Is there a part that they play? Yes, it is. But there's also a part that we play. And what tend to keep us bogged down is the denial part of us saying, I don't know where this comes from. When in fact, we do know where it comes from. It comes from our actions and our responses and how we handle things. One of the biggest things that I keep in mind especially as a woman and as parents of grown children. Yes, they do make some decisions and some choices, but we still have to remember whenever they was a teenager and a small child growing up, what were the choices that we made before them? Because what we think is funny and cute, and one of the biggest things, I think you and I was at the stoplight one day this week, and it was a dad in the car beside us, and the more he was up there hyped up, his child in the back seat was hyped up.
Oh,
and he
yeah.
said, "Did you see that?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Right now it's cute until they grow up."
Exactly.
I said, sometimes stuff that we look at and we deem to be cute and to be funny, whenever they grow up, now we're the same people that's criticizing and pointing out what is wrong. But what we should have did was corrected that then, to let them know, hold up, this is not the way things should be. This is not how we act. This is not how we carry ourselves. Or whenever I went through the phase, and remember, you had to say something to me personally. Y'all know I share about me. I can talk about me. I don't know about you, but I can talk about me. And even though I felt some of the things that I wore was not suggestive or was not welcoming, you said you have to look at how you dress because you are raising a daughter. Mm-hmm. And even though you may have a curve with it, she's not going to have a curve with it. So we noticed when she got her little shape started coming in, we noticed that there started becoming a certain clothing that she wanted to wear. Mm-hmm. And no matter how much when you went shopping to make sure that her clothes gave the right appearance, there was still certain things that she felt she wanted to wear.
Yeah, not all of that. She decided, said, well, Mama, you used to wear this. This is how you wore it, and you wore this size here, and you wore this short, and this is the manner in which you wore it, and you had no problem. Remember, you was arguing and fussing with Dad and said, "That's my clothes. I shouldn't have to throw my clothes away." So yeah, and you're right, and we have to look at that. And that's the same thing I said with my biological daughter with her mom. You know, as parents, you know, we definitely have to look at what can cause us to find ourselves at a place that we are in that rut, that has us at a place where the ground around us is wet and we're spinning our wheels and we're steady sinking down. Or we find ourselves, as you said, I think after we got off the air on Tuesday night, we're in quicksand. And if you're in quicksand, the more you struggle, the further down you sink. Mm. And that's where we find ourselves in a lot of situations, is in the quicksands of life. And even though somebody may throw us a lifeline, throw us a rope, hand us a long stick, or they hand us a tree branch to try to pull us out, what causes us to sink more and more, and it sucks us down, is the fact that we become afraid. Mm-hmm. And we don't feel that we can get out because we're steady struggling. Mm-hmm. The more we struggle, the more it begins to pull us down. And because we're afraid to change the situation, we won't stop for a moment, or we find ourselves in a situation where it becomes like a python. The more you take a breath in, or the more you try to breathe out, the more that python begins to squeeze you. And that's where we are in a lot of things in life that got us bogged down, is these situations are steady squeezing us, because instead of not breathing at all and now forcing our way out to be able to get into a position to where we can slip out, we put ourselves in a position where we give the situation the strength that it needs to tighten up around us, to be able to squeeze us, to finally take us to a place that it kills us. And that's what happens with being bogged down. And like you say, that, I mean, our kids see what we do in the words that we say, how we say it, the manner that we say it in. They may see our responses, what our significant other, what our baby daddies, our baby mamas, what our husbands, what our wives, whether it's our body language, our facial gestures, whether it's the verbiage that we use, mm-hmm. or even if it ain't the verbiage, they may just see how we respond by not responding at all, and what we do after nothing has been said. And they recognize that we haven't given any respect, we haven't given any mannerism at all to it, but it's actually what we didn't do to stop what was being done, to show that we had changed, that we wasn't going to do the same thing again, and we turn right back around and do the same thing again, or we agree that we won't do it. And we won't do it for a couple of days. We turn right back around and we do it to, the 100th power the next time we do it, because we feel we just made you feel all right to make you feel like you were the big man, you were the big woman. Okay, we did it in front of the kids. Now you ought to feel good about it. And now you turn right back around and here it is to the 100 power. It's like, okay, then when it breaks up the family, now you're ready to fuss and fight. You're ready to throw in their face something that they did, something that they had done, how they were doing it already, how they said something to you, the manner in which they said it to you, something that had happened way in the beginning of your relationship. You understand? And now you have this whole tearing away. And now your children feel, okay, well, mama did that to dad, and they ain't really my daddy, or daddy did that to mama, and they ain't really my mama, or that's mama. Then you have now taught them, when they get into relationships, when they start having friendships, when they begin to build friendships, they begin to do that same thing. So now you're teaching them that this is okay. This is what you should do. This is how it should go down. Or you're telling that young man, this is how you handle a woman. This is the manner in which you handle a woman in. This is how you handle a man. This is the manner that you handle a man in. So now you giving them the authority, the power. You giving them, in essence, the door or the gateway of being able to build the same type of bridges that you are supposed to be tearing down, to show them, okay, look, this wasn't the way that it should have been. This is how it should not have been handled. This is not the correct way to go about doing it. This is how I should have corrected it, but you continue in it. And when they start doing it, now you're ready to correct them. And when they come back and slap you upside the head with it, not in essence, but in figuratively speaking, now you're ready to tell them all, cuss them out, tell them get out your face, and all the other things that we say, or we're ready to beat them down in different words, or we're ready to bring up scripture, or I ain't do that to my mama, they ain't how I handle my mama and daddy, and all, da da da, yada yada. So we can't do this. So now we backed in a bog situation, or we back entangled, or back in bondage, or we put them in greater bondage, or we lose the respect, or we lose the ability to be able to guide them. So what's got us bogged down? What has us at the place that we cannot lead, guide, or really give them the protection they want, or we cause them to be at a place where there's a lack of parental respect as it should be. They respect us because we're their parents, but they don't respect us in the manner that they should, because we can't guide them as we ought to. Hey, how y'all doing, Kenya and Sister Lynn? How y'all doing, Kim? Good to see y'all tonight.
One of the things that I look at whenever you say there's two things I want to go back to where you was at when you was talking about the python and the quicksand. A lot of times, and I only want to go back there because you was talking about sometimes we can be bogged down on certain jobs. Right. And one of the biggest things that I look at in this day and in this time, a lot of us either are on jobs or have been on jobs, or we're in a job that we feel like that it's just got us weighted down because it's always something going on. And one of the biggest things that I keep in mind is that a lot of times, especially I can talk about what I do in healthcare. In healthcare, I've never had issues with my clientele or with my patients when I was in a facility. My issues became because of coworkers or because of poor management. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Or the fact that sometimes we've got into places that because of what we have going on keep us there. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So you're in the midst of trying to make a decision of whether should I stay or should I go. And then sometimes we've gotten in places where we've left the situation. Because remember, I did that. I hopped up and I left a situation. And whenever I left the situation, it's like I stepped in the furnace, honey. And I remember that. And it became more stressful to me at that time. So I remember taking a pay cut. Remember that? To get out of that position that I was in, because I had told you, if I stay here, I'm going to catch a charge, because we just not going to keep talking to me any kind of way and think that I'm just going to sit back and say, okay, it's all right. No, it's not all right.
Because you didn't count, I mean, a lot of times we don't count up the cost. But before, because I was getting ready to say, you didn't count up the cost. All of us have found ourselves in that position, because I've done that same thing. And I don't mean to cut you off, but just to chime in real quick so you don't lose your thought. We've all been at that place where you felt you was at wit's end. it's at a dead end. It's at a place to where if I don't make this quick decision and make a move, I'm going to be at a place that it's going to hurt me more than it's going to help me. And even though this job is what's paying my bills, I got to weigh out either pay my bills or pay a bill to get me out of jail. So now you haven't really counted up the cost, but you allowed yourself to get to that place. You knew you were getting to the place to where it was squeezing you. It had been squeezing you. You knew what was squeezing you. You knew what was bringing you to that place. You knew you was mentally becoming burnt out. You knew that you were psychologically frustrated. You knew you was physically at a place to where you was overwhelmed. You knew financially it was not getting done the job you needed to get done, but it was just getting you by, and you were satisfied where you was at because you were familiar and it was something that you loved, but you had lost the love, you had lost the lust, it had lost its luster. In other words, it lost the shine, and you gave in because this is what you knew, and you just didn't feel like going looking for anything else. So you settled. And instead of settling in what you were doing because you were happy, you settled. And when you settled, the frustration now got to you. And the fact that there was nobody else there to aid, nobody else there to help, there was nothing else that was able to build you, there was no support. And when you don't feel no support and there was nobody there to really encourage you, and you just got to the place that it was so overwhelming, you now found yourself in bondage by what you were doing. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So whenever I say
that was your quicksand.
Exactly. That's what I was getting ready to say. That was my quicksand. You get what I'm saying? And I think sometimes whenever we get in situations that we do panic, because that's one of the biggest things that I look at. And like I told you, even though I'm not from an area of where quicksand that I know of is in that area, but just looking at it on the movies and understanding when you do the research, you find out that if you stay still, you slowly go down. You don't go down quickly, and you have a chance of surviving and coming out versus to a person that is panicking, because a lot of times people do come to help and aid whenever we're bogged down into certain situations. One of the biggest things that I look at as parents, and you have so many groups of women or men that do try to aid each other whenever our children are in issues. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Think about it. Listen to what you just said. You said there are a lot of times that there are many people that come to help, many people that come to aid. The question is, in what you just say, do we really recognize, first of all, and if we do recognize, do we really want it? And the next thing in that, the third thing is, do you accept it? Because you're so bogged, you're so bothered, you're so troubled, you're aggravated, you're agitated, and you don't recognize that God have actually sent it. Or you've been asking, you've been praying, you've been seeking, you've been desiring, and now God has sent this man, this woman. And he may send a man, and you think the man coming along because he wants you. He want to go to bed with you. He want to lay down with you. You think that's what's going on. Or he sent a woman along, and you think the same thing either with that, or you just think she's trying to, get you at a position or a place to cause you to lose your job, but you don't realize you wanted an exit. You wanted a door out. He said that he know how much you can deal with, and he know how much you can be tempted, and he won't allow you to be tempted above the measure that you can handle. So even in your bogged out situation, God know how far you'll be able to get before you're ready to slap somebody upside the head, cut somebody tire, bust somebody one day out, slap somebody, cuss somebody out, bring you to the place that you're going to be in a position where you're going to sin and you're going to lose everything, lose your license. So God know exactly what's going to happen. Hey, cuz, how you doing? You're right. Absolutely. Correction. And that's what takes place. So what she just said, you're right. So when they come, do you recognize it? Sometimes you do, but you don't want it. You like being where you are. And then sometimes the reason why I say you like being where you are, because you're not ready to walk out the door. Because you don't feel that if I take this right now I got to start all over again. And I ain't ready to start all over again. Why I got to start all over again? So when I do this here, and now I got to go through all of this paperwork. Now I got to ride some further than what I am right now. See, you concerned about all of that, but you was ready to get rid of the mental aggravation. You was ready to get out of the emotional stress. But if you're not tired of being in the stress that you're in, then stay bogged down. Stay at a place where you're sluggish. You was ready to put more food on the table. You was tired of the food stamps. You were tired of having the people look at you like you're crazy, like you couldn't afford what you were doing. You were tired of living in Section 8 and all of these other things. And you were tired of not having enough for your kids and all of these other things. You were tired of going to the church. You were tired of going to the social workers and all of that. So you enjoyed being bogged down. But when the door was open for you to make more money, why not take it?
Right.
Listen to what she said. You got to the place that you enjoyed the python squeezing you. You got tired of Uncle Willie. Hey, girl, I got that extra $100 for you. Come over here and rub on me a little bit. You got tired of being a revolving door for Mike, Willie, Bob. You got tired of, Jim Bob, and he can't be with you on Christmas. He can't come to with you on your birthday. You got to be there on February 15th instead of February 14th. He got to come the day after your birthday. He got to come December 26th, not December 25th. He can't come to you on Mother's Day. He got to come to you the day after Mother's Day, the day before Mother's Day, because he got to be with his wife or his girlfriend or a significant other, or vice versa, even with a man. So what's the problem? You got a baby for him, but he can't be with you with your child, but he got to be with the baby mama that he's living with.
Come on.
He can't spend the whole night with you because he got to be with the other woman that he really lived with. And you just found this out. You enjoy being in the positions that you're in. You knew it when you got into it. You were tired of it. He don't like the fact that you done found somebody to be with, but he mad that you got somebody that stay with you, but you still want him as well and the man that you got. But you told the man that you got a baby daddy, you and your baby daddy, y'all still come together every now and then. You bogged down the way that you are, but you ready to start afresh and anew, but you still playing around with all 4 baby daddies, all 3 baby daddies, all 2 baby daddies, and you got a new man now, but you telling the new man that he can't play around unless he got a raincoat. Because you ain't trying to have no more children. So who bogged down? You done started a new life and you're a church girl. Really? But you still with the baby daddies. You need help with the light bill. You have a man at your house laying up, and all he want to do is play the PS2, PS4. He want to pay all the game systems, but he can't help pay your light bill. But he lay in your bed. You cook for him. And as my wife would say, she knows some folk, she cooking him steak, cooking her steak, and the children eating Roman noodles.
Noodles.
That's a problem. That's bogged down. That's sluggish. Because there's no way you gonna get almost $1,000 in them people food stamps, or like my sister called it, Koopa Loops. That's what they call it in Louisiana, Koopa Loops. Now, I have no idea why they call them Koopa Loops, y'all. They food stamps. When they used to have the books, y'all remember the books, the dollar food stamps? You know, they were red, the green, and yellow, and all that other stuff. You had to tear out the book. And you used to go to the store and get the dollar back. You know, they used to give you real money back when you used them stamps back in the day. They don't do that no more.
But at that time, people were ashamed
to use that. White folk, black folk, Asian folk, they were all scared to pull them books out because you had them big old books that you had to pull out. You had to pull out the $1 book, the $5 book, the $10 book, the $20 book. Y'all remember that, right? And they had to go to the Winn-Dixie and all of that other store. You even went to that Walmart, you had to pull it out there. But now they ain't ashamed to pull that card out because don't nobody know you really got an EBT card.
Come on.
And on the EBT card, they put your cash money on that now. Mm-hmm. You can use that at the bank now. I'm saying that because we're bogged down. But all of those things, when Bill Clinton put that stuff into play, when he used that in Arkansas, when he was a governor, that was supposed to benefit you, to get you out of your situation, to help you for the moment, but you got stuck on it. Mm-hmm. So when you're bogged down, you're stuck where you are. Why are we stuck? That's not where we're supposed to be. So these things at the seat at the table is to get us at a place, to get us thinking, to stop being stuck, to get us up and out. That's what God wanted us to do. So whether you're saved or not, whether you have a relationship with Christ or not, there's no reason for us to still be stuck on stupid. Mm-hmm. Y'all remember the commercial that used to say, I am stuck on Band-Aid and Band-Aid stuck on me. So some of us still stuck with the same places and the same people in the same situations and the same circumstances and the same condition, and they pass down because we have taught these behaviors to our family, our friends, our children, our grandchildren, our babies. And you're right, they're passing it on because they have these same diseases because we've given the diseases to them. Mm-hmm. But there's a great deal more that have taught them different. Mm-hmm. And they've risen above it. And other people are bogged down and mad because you've risen above where you were. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of us, our grandparents, our great grandparents, and our aunts and our great aunts and our cousins showed us how to get out. But other folk like staying where they are. Mm-hmm. And they're mad because you've risen above it. But then there's some of us stayed where we were to make sure that some folk that are still in those places where we came from were able to rise above and get out, because they knew if all of us left from where we were at, then nobody would be able to get out and everybody would fail. Mm-hmm. So I'm not mad at some of the folk that stayed, but there was some of us had to leave, but there was still some that God meant for to stay behind. Why? Because somebody had to lead somebody else out, because the rest of them wasn't going to want to come out. But then there was others that don't want to come out. That's why they're still where they are. Up the bayou, down the bayou, Danville, Peterville, back of town. That's why some folks still stuck where they are. Cold Shoe, Railroad Avenue. And I can name a whole lot of places because they just won't come out. Brian Air Homes. Why? Because they refuse to get out of the slough. The slough is in the swamp. They like where they are. Why at the same time they hate the situation that they're in. They've grown accustomed to it, and the smell don't bother them. I'm sorry. I couldn't stand the smell no more. And when God presented an opportunity for me to move, I used my opportunity. I didn't run. He allowed me to move. But everywhere I moved to, he allowed me to add. But I still go back to add. But people get mad when you try to add to them. Why? Because they rather see you without, because they know where you're from, they know where you came from, and they were the very ones trying to keep you where you were at so you would never come out. Go ahead, Evangelist.
No, I was just listening to you. And one of the biggest things that I keep in mind is that we have to all remember that there are some things that we don't have to stay stagnated in. Because whenever you look at stagnated water, I'm going to say this. As me and my son was coming in this morning, and there was a smell in the air, and he was like, where he worked at, they got some type of pond or something. He said, it always stink. I said, you got to remember the lake behind our house, it moves. Mm-hmm. I said, whenever you think about a fish tank, I said, a fish tank, if the water does not have that air in it that produce the oxygen and the water for it to bubble up, if you unplug that and you leave that water sitting and standing, first of all, it's going to get cloudy. Mm-hmm. The fish can't see through it. Then it's going to get some type of slime in it, which it makes it difficult for them to swim. Then the smell is horrible because what's in it is dying. And a lot of times, whenever you guys stand in water and there's no oxygen in it, there's no life in it. And so many times, one of the biggest things that I look at and a part of depression is the fact that we're standing in one situation and we don't see a way out of it. Neither do we look for a way out of it, because sometimes one of the biggest things, when you deal with women that has been in abusive relationships, one of the biggest things that I've looked at, and the few people that I've dealt with, is that they look at this person is the supplier. How am I going to supply everything I need? This person is the person that provides and makes sure that the kids have. So they put aside their emotion, but they forget that the ones that are around them, which are the little ones that's seeing this go on daily, this is affecting their everyday lifestyle. Or the fact that I come from a father that was an alcoholic. And because my father was an alcoholic and my grandfather was an alcoholic and my grandfather was abusive to my grandmother, and my mother grew up in that situation, when she found herself in that situation, my mother took me and she left the situation whenever I was two and never returned because there was just a situation that she refused to raise me in. Mm-hmm. Not too many kids are blessed to have that be done to take them from a situation. So many kids are stuck in those situations, which goes back to the anger and animosity and all of these things, or drugs and all these things that our kids wind up getting on. But we still have to look at what part did we actually play. One of the biggest things is I look at sometimes that my kids are angry because there was just some things I was just not gonna let go on in my kids' life because things I went through. And because of the fact, the emotions that I dealt with, I didn't want them to have to deal with those emotions. But what happened was it still taught them a form of anger because no matter how much I didn't talk about the outside parent, they were still angry because that person was not there.
I'm only laughing because you and the kids were talking about that the other day. And it's funny that you say that because now think about what you said with the fish tank. It already has bacteria building up in the water because fish have to have slime on their scales because that's what actually protects them. So with the slime coming off the fish already, then with them already having to do their business in the water. So they already urinating, they already have feces in the water. So you're going to have bacteria that's building up in the water. So bacteria are going to already be in the water. So when you take the life out of the water, which is the oxygen, they have to have oxygen in the water. After about 2 days of not having air steady flowing through the water and the filter that actually has to filter out some of the bacteria that's in it because you got a filter in it as well as you have oxygen going in it. So you got the filter that's there that's filtering out, toxins that's already in the water from them doing their business in the water and the food and stuff that's there to actually, keep it clean. And then you got to clean the tank because that's algae that's going to build up on the glass in the tank as well. So long story short, from what you're saying, when all of these things take place and you remove the air from going in and there's no air going in, the filter is not working in there because it's not on. Now you have all this excess that's there. Eventually the fish do die because after 2 or 3 days, there's no more oxygen in the water and the bacteria and lack of oxygen. Now you have all of these things. Yeah, it does become cloudy because the lack of oxygen and already the algae, the bacteria, and the microorganisms that's already living in the water are now starting to eat up what's there. So you think about that, what you just said with women that are in abusive relationships, whether it's emotional, psychological, whether it's physical, whether it's sexual, whether it's verbal, whether it is mental. These things now become the bacteria. They become the algae. They become all of these microorganisms that begin to eat up into that person's life. And if there are children involved, whether it's their children or whether it's the children from another relationship and this person have come in, now all of these things do affect them because it causes them to have all types of anxieties. It causes them to have all type of social, emotional, physical. It causes them to have the anxiety is that they don't want to be affectionate with nobody. They don't want to draw close to anybody, even with the parent. They have withdrawal syndrome. They get to that place. So you're right. They not even want to even pick up a Bible or pick up a book. They start having withdrawals even with school. So even the mother, not just angry, not just denial, you're trying to figure out what you're angry about. What's got you angry? What's causing your anger? So now you become rebellious. You become resentful. So you're right. So think about that. Then now you got the algae that builds up on top of the water because there's no life. The life has died. So the life in the water has died. So think about the life that's around the water that's dying. So think about the life that's in the relationship and the life that's around the relationship. And think about all of the people that's around you. And even though you're trying to hide what's going on when you go out of your house, so think about your house as the fish tank. And think about the people that's in your house that's now dying because of the lack of air that's there from the things that's taking place. So think about us. There was a time when we had our disagreements, we had our arguments, we had our disputes, and we had to shift what we were doing because it was causing our air. It was causing our fish tank. It was causing us to become bogged down. So we had to shift some things. We had to change some things, just like you just said with your kids as well. So we had to change a lot of things. So we became bogged. The kids were already bogged. The kids were bogged down from what was going on before we met each other. And then when we had our things that happened, so we say what we say because there's some transitions that we had to adjust and that we had to make, and we're still making them. So when we came to the table with this, because of our sisters, because we had another sister that came to the table as well, it was because life changing events and things that I knew worked for me and things that was given to me by my family. Matter of fact, some of my family that's on here, because I was given things, I was shared things, I was taught things, I was entrusted with things, and I believe I was entrusted with it because they sowed into me words that I believed that were good enough to be able to now impart into somebody else because they were imparted into me, and because it was imparted into me, it found life into me and it gave life to me. So now, why not impart that wherever I'm at, or whoever I'm with, or whoever I'm around? So now we can help build somebody else because it went back to the basis of where I came from, the Word of God. So why not be able to implant that somewhere else so that it continue to keep it with oxygen enriched air where we're at? Does that make any sense to anybody?
Yeah, because now you can breathe.
Exactly. That's why one of the songs said, breathe. And I breathe good. So that's why we're able to come to the table and do the seat at the table, because when you think about it, we've had our moments where I done fussed. I've had moments where I've said some cuss words. I'm not ashamed of it because, and the reason why I say I'm not ashamed, I'm not proud of it. So don't nobody misinterpret that. But I'm not ashamed that there were times that I got angry enough that I did. But at the same time, I had to come back and I had to fix it. And in fixing it, it became better. And because it came better, now you find some other adverbs, adjectives, other descriptive words. Doesn't mean you don't get angry. Well, you got to learn now. You got to be angry and you got to find a way not to allow yourself to commit some kind of sin. So when you do that, is the fact that when you find yourself at that place, you got to not allow yourself to become overtaken with evil. And you got to overtake your evil with some kind of good. In life is not just built off of just doing good, because sometimes people get bogged down just doing good for people. And there's so many people that are doing good that they're burnt out just doing good because it don't look like it's enough. It don't look like it's going anywhere. It don't look like it's benefiting anything. Don't look like it's benefiting nobody. Don't look like people are appreciative to the good that they're doing. It doesn't look like somebody is all right with it, because even with black people, it doesn't seem sometimes, no matter how far ahead they're getting, it look like you're being pushed so far back. Even with our present situation right now, with the populace in Texas being greater, with being Hispanic and Latino, it don't seem like they're getting anywhere. Then with the populace of ratio of whites to black, it seemed like they're not getting there. So you got to look at it. At the end of the day, people got to forget what you look like on the outside and start looking at what people look like on the inside. Do we really know what people look like on the inside? We're so stuck on trying to bring people back to a place in time that seem to fit folk, that puts them in a position that makes them superior to somebody else. Instead of looking at the end of the day, everybody should be at a place that we're equal, or bring them to a place to where there's equality everywhere. Why say we have equality? Why say we want to be equal? Why say that we should have equality when that's really not the purpose of what we're really trying to do? So what are we bogged down with? Then the same people that you want to walk down on, when you ain't got nothing at all, you got to turn right back to that same person that you just walked over. That same person that you thought was nobody because you was dressed in your fine duds and your fine threads. And they walked in with, some slacks, decent pair of shoes on, nice button down shirt, and they walked in, but you didn't know they were the boss. And you handled them real bad. You told them, take your coat, take your umbrella. You told them, carry your bag because you didn't realize the person you just was talking to was the person that was getting ready to give you the interview for the job that you came there for. They were the hiring agent, but you didn't know that. You talked to them bad. You didn't know that. And they told the person that was behind the desk, don't say nothing. Don't worry about it. Just let them keep doing what they're doing. And this happens every day in the field of life. Mm-hmm. But you didn't realize that. You went to McDonald's, Burger King, you went to a corporate office, and you mishandled and misjudged somebody because you didn't know who they were. You went to a hotel and you took somebody in the lobby and you mistook them for a bellboy. And you didn't realize that wasn't a bellboy. That was the person that owned the hotel. And you handled them the wrong way. All to find out this person owned it or this person was the manager of that hotel. And you now at a place you begging for forgiveness because you took them wrong. You went to GM, you went to Microsoft, and you handled somebody wrong and you didn't realize that this person was the person that held your future in your hand, in their hand. Now you don't know what to do. You went to Ford. You didn't realize it. You want to be a chef at a top restaurant in Las Vegas. And you was talking to the owner of the restaurant. But because the owner of the restaurant had on a nice, clean shirt, t-shirt, you know what I'm saying? Like I got on some jeans, and he came in some sandals, and they were going in the restaurant, and you like, can you get out of the way? You dirt. What are you doing in here? You don't realize that man that just came in from a long trip, came in for vacation. He was come check on his restaurant, and you handled him wrong. And you going in his restaurant because you all zazzy, all pizzazzed. But because you had a bad day and it seemed like you couldn't get your seat and you had made reservations and what have you, you talking 5,000 worth of junk. You talking smack. You telling him, get out of the way. I had reservations. He just walked in and went sat down. You ain't realize this is the man that owned the restaurant. And he asked you, how can he help you? What can he do to make it better for you? But you didn't realize. So he went sat down in the booth and sat down at a table. And they came served him just nice. And he's sitting there smiling. And you still mad. And he told them, sit at a table next to him. And once they set you down, he told them, don't worry about their ticket. And he told them to bring the note to you. And you didn't realize that you had been served and fed and he paid for your food. And at the end of his note, he just simply asked you, please don't visit my restaurant again. And now you want to walk to the table and apologize. But it's too late. So what do? So with that being said, we're going to get ready to get off the air. We thank all of you tonight for being with us. I'll let Evangelist give us some closing statements and remarks or whatever she may have to say. But what's got you bogged down? What has you at a place to where you're in the position that you're in that has you so flustered and so at a place to where you're backed up, you're clogged, can't get out, don't know what to do to get out? You just in a position that you're just trying to figure things out. What's got you like that? Think about that.
Well, I pray that tonight that you've heard something that will encourage you as we get ready to start off the new week. As we all know, we have all been in a bogged down situation. We're seeing as though we're trying to figure things out. Also trying to make sure that we have everything set in place. I don't know about you, but I know I'm a planner. And a lot of times when Apostle and I have something to do or we're planning on going out of town, I have everything planned early. I'll go and set up the room and make sure our bag is packed out early and making sure that we have everything that we have to have. So I pray that you have heard something that will help you plan your situation and that it can help you get out of where you're at. Because a lot of times, most of the things that get us bogged down is more about our head than it is anything. But I will let you know if something in your head physically, it will start harming your body because some of us suffer with blood pressure problems. I was talking to my aunt today that's in her 80s, and she was telling me, she said, I notice whenever I get up to go to the doctor, she said, you already be a little nervous whenever you get ready to go to the doctor. She said, but I notice every time I go in there and I be rushing, trying to get in there, trying to make sure I'm not late, my blood pressure be high. She said I had
About
to tell
like yours.
Yep. She said I had to tell the doctor, just give me a minute, let me settle down. Whenever you check it again, it'll be down. And one of the biggest things that I look at is that she had enough sense to know her situation. She knew what made her blood pressure be high because she knew that if you give me a little while to let me calm down and let me settle down, when you come back, it will be down.
Now let me let y'all know that's called white coat syndrome. No, that's actually a syndrome. That's a disorder. That's called white coat syndrome. Take that from a psych major that has a bachelor's degree. You can look it up. It's called white coat syndrome. Some people have a fear of doctors. It is called white coat syndrome. Now, don't y'all think that y'all got to get that. Everybody don't have it.
Everybody don't have
My
it.
wife have it. She go to the doctor, blood pressure be sky high. Well, she lay there for a moment, blood pressure there. Shh. It's just a fear of a doctor, and it has no color barrier. It don't matter whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Pacific Islander, Native American. Just some people just got a fear of that person in that white coat. Why? I have no idea. When I go to the doctor, hey, what's up, doc? Blood pressure fine. When I ain't at the doctor and something bothers me, blood pressure be high. See the doctor, blood pressure says, shh.
Yes, because you be saying, nope, you're not putting me in no hospital today.
That might be it. That might be it because I done took my blood pressure at home and it been sky high. Get to the doctor, blood pressure goes straight down.
Yeah, that's what it is. You be saying, nope, you're not putting me in the hospital.
But go ahead.
But I pray that you've heard something that will assist you, aid you as you get ready to start this week off. We love you all. Our hour has been well spent. We will see you on Tuesday night for our seat at table. Grab your coffee, grab your tea.
Your coffee?
Your coffee.
You said coffee.
Coffee. Grab your coffee. I'm just sleeping now. Grab your coffee, grab your tea. Let's sit down and let us talk. You are more than welcome to interact in the conversation. We want you to interact because it helps us to continue in the conversation. So we look forward to seeing you, hearing from you on next week, on next Tuesday. Also, I'm sure you've seen the reels, the flyers, the advertisement. We will be streaming on Roku TV.
Yeah, Roku TV on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. And if you don't have a Roku TV, you can just go to Winning in Prayer, Winning in Prayer TV.com. And on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock, we'll be on their website, but on Roku TV, they had asked us to join their television station, and we'll be on their television station. Hey, I'm Beck. How are you? How are you? Your auntie just came on.
Hey, auntie.
So we'll be on. We television shows been trying to get our ministry on TV for quite a while. So we'll be on Roku TV on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. But if you don't have a Roku TV, you can go on Winning in Prayer, Winning in Prayer TV.com, and you'll be able to see our broadcast every Thursday night at 8 p.m. We'll be on their TV station every Thursday night. So you can join us there. We'll still be live on Wednesday nights, Fire Bible class, and we'll still be live on Sunday mornings, Wednesday nights at 6:30, Sunday mornings at 11:30, and of course we still do our seat at the table on Tuesdays at 8 and on Saturdays at 8 o'clock. But every Thursday night, there's Roku. The channel there. What is the channel on this? It's just it. What a channel on there is Winning in TV is the channel, cause
Winning in Prayer TV.
Winning in Prayer TV is their channel. So put it on there, baby. Type it on. You can type it on my phone. If you pull up Winning in Prayer TV, you'll be able to pull it up on the Roku. But we'll be on there every Thursday. You'll be able to catch our broadcast there as well on Thursdays. So, and it's a blessing. Apostle Darrell Johnson, he had been talking with us for a while. We were supposed to do it last year, and he just happened to catch me one day while I was out at the store. I think it was Friday.
No, that was early this week, about Tuesday or Wednesday. It was after your birthday.
Yeah, right after my birthday, and I said, okay, let me sit down with Evangelist. Let me look at what the ministry have, and we'll do it. He said, well, let me work out some other numbers for you. I'm like, okay, and God fixed it. So we appreciate him, and we are definitely. Oh, God bless, God bless. So look at it, check it out. There's some other pastors and everything, both male and female pastors that are on there. So we're grateful to that, and it broadcasts
everywhere.
Everywhere. Let's just say
that. Broadcast everywhere. But that is mostly for our family and friends that we do have, that I know sometimes the cell phone is aggravating, the tablet is aggravating, right. And sometimes trying to watch it on the laptop, it can become aggravating. And if right. You're not as tech savvy as our young people that can take it and have it from the phone where it's showing on the TV, it's aggravating. So right. We do mirroring. That's what it's
mirroring
called.
Mirroring from the phone to the television.
So we do understand that is aggravating.
Because I'm still learning myself.
So we are inviting you and encouraging you that you are more than welcome to be able to watch the broadcast on Thursday night at 8 o'clock on your Roku TV. On Thursday night at 8 o'clock on Winning TV is the channel. Winning in Prayer TV is the channel. So we love each of you all. Y'all have a great night. We will see you tomorrow morning for our worship experience. We are praying and asking God to move not only at Shepherd, but wherever you go to worship on tomorrow, that you receive a word that is seasoned for this day and this time, that will bring healing, will set captivity free, that will deliver, set us all. Some of us will need to be free from ourselves and our own mind. So let's say Lord. That too. Yes, so we pray that God move in your life, move in your home, because sometimes we act like we get bogged down just whenever we walk in the door because we don't know what we got to face. So we pray and ask the Spirit of the God to walk in your homes on tonight. And as you go to bed tonight and you rest, that he rests and breathes on you on tonight. So we love you, we love you, we love you. God bless you. And we will see you on Tuesday night.
Amen. God bless. We love you. Have an awesome night.